Hey everyone, so welcome back to my channel today, and we are going to be doing a brand new Sims 3 apartment speed build because today it was just time for me to do one. It's currently 1 a.m. in the morning because I don't sleep, but also I think it's just very important to acknowledge that I don't know the concept of time anymore, that I don't remember if I actually ever did a Sims 3 speed build this year or not. But if I did one, I will link it down below, but also let's just say that me and The Sims 3 have a love-hate relationship when it comes to drama, chaos, midlife crisis, Sims divorcing when I don't want them to get divorced. It just happens and it's just an utter mess, but that's my life, that's my Sims game. But today's speed build is all about Parker O'Neill Langkurt. Well, if you take out the O'Neill part, he's just Parker Langkurt. Because recently in my last part of my Let's Play for The Sims 3, you wouldn't know that Parker Langkurt now was like, I want to have a midlife crisis. And so he did, and was like, I want to divorce my wife, I want to move out, change jobs, get a tattoo, and have a love affair while still having 3 kids. And he did all of that in a span of 4 days. And I'm just thinking, what? Why? Why, Parker? Why would you do all these different things to cause chaos in my game? I wanted to have a simple, nice, wholesome family in The Sims 3 because Sims 2 and Sims 4, those households are all chaotic, crazy, and I needed something wholesome for once. Well, that turned for the worse. I already know that my Sims 3 family was going to end up crazy at some point. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. But the good part though, I have 3 kids and I have a nice house and things are going pretty well and it's just wonderful. But Parker, he was like, I want to have a secret love affair, and it happened between the point where Alex, which is their oldest son, their only son actually, from when the time he aged up into a child to the time he aged up into a teenager, because they went to, I think, Paris, France, when Alex was a child, or when he literally just aged up into a child. And then also between the time when they went to Isla Paradiso, when Alex aged up into a teenager, and Susie aged up into a child as well. So it was like a mixture between the 2 vacations where Parker had a midlife crisis and was like, I'm going to divorce my wife one of these days and just date somebody else. And like, honestly, I saw it coming because, you know, Laura O'Neill Langkurt was talking to Parker's last girlfriend before, you know, she broke up, you know, their engagement and stuff because she was a homewrecker. But that's beside the point. But when Laura was talking to, I think, Lisa Bunch, I believe, she was like, oh yeah, that Parker character, yeah, he's quite shady. Like when I was dating him before, we were high school sweethearts. We dated for a very long time. Our parents knew their parents, so on and so forth, etc., etc. And she told her that, Parker's not the one to really be with for a very long time. Like, he will literally break your heart in many different pieces and you will be left with nothing. However, here's a twist. Laura was a very sole person to own the diner, own the house, pay all the bills, have a good steady job, but also be the sane person to not have him sign a prenup. So that basically was great on her part. Had Parker sign a prenup, she collected all the money because she was basically the only person making the money in the household to begin with. Parker went from job to job. He was working as a freelancer for a little bit. Then he quit that job to go and become a firefighter. Quit that job after a couple of years. And now he's a police officer as a, not a scammer, but a snitch. And snitches get stitches, so it's not really great for him at the moment. So he is now living by himself in this lovely apartment that I built him for him today. And I could never really see Parker as a family man, a family guy. And I mainly saw him as a wannabe rock star, soon to be, you know, firefighter, you know, adventurer type of person. Like, he's always had that thrill and love for adventure and seeing the world and performing. And I think that's kind of where Alex kind of gets the whole idea of like performing and acting and dancing and, you know, doing whatever, the arts. And as of right now, I think that what's going to happen for Parker is that Parker kind of doesn't really have anyone else in his life because his sister basically hates him. His parents are almost dead, that they hardly ever speak anymore. His son doesn't talk to him anymore. He's all alone. And I want to get him a dog, like a little small little dog or like a big one. I don't know just yet, but a small one, like a puppy for now, before, the puppy grows up to be a full-fledged adult. And I don't know, I really love The Sims 3 just because The Sims 3 is like my one game besides The Sims 2 that I really love going back to. And like seeing like all nostalgia, like the video cameras and the honeymoons and going on vacation and all of the open world aspect is like one of like my favorites as well. And even though having everything open to you is quite a lot, I do like having the control of seeing all the families of where they're all at a certain time, whether at the bar or the library or at their house or at their job. I can see all that at once. And I don't know, a part of me wants open world in The Sims 4, but like another part of me doesn't want it because I know how The Sims 3 works, and The Sims 3 runs like hot garbage on a Sunday afternoon when everything's running at once. And we don't have time for that. No, not today, not ever. So I'd rather have a semi-open world in The Sims 4, never open world ever again, because that was just not it for me. At the time, it was, but now it's like, no. But like I said, I can definitely see Parker being like a rock star, but probably quitting his police job probably when he reaches like level 5 or 6 in that career. Because like when I tell you he has a midlife crisis, he truly does. He goes from one job to another one, to another one, to another one. There's no steady income happening. Well, there is, but there's no consistency in his life whatsoever. There's never been, like, ever since he was a child, he always had like that inconsistency when it comes to relationships, his parents, his like part-time jobs, like his after-school activities, his grades. Like, it was all a mess that I can definitely see why things led up the way they were at this current time. And I don't know if I definitely want to keep Parker in the situation anymore where he's going to live in Sunset Valley for a long time, or I should just move him out somewhere different. And I don't really know if I should do that just yet. But as for Alex, his son, his only son, his eldest son, who's a teenager now, he's going to be going to his first prom ever, which I'm very excited because that next part is going to be happening very soon. But with Alex, he still doesn't have his license yet, and he still wants to connect with his father, but he wants to do it at his own time. And he's giving him that space to acknowledge like what's happening and how he's going to go all about it and stuff. But I honestly believe at the end of the day, it's going to probably hurt him in the long run if he stays in this current situation of living with his mom and with his siblings and not really living with his dad or seeing his dad as much. And I don't know. I just think that with Alex, he just needs to take it a step back, realize the situation, and see if he wants to have that genuine connection again with his father. Because his father wasn't there to begin with in the first place. Like, he was there, but he wasn't there all the time like his mom was. Like, his mom was like a stay-at-home mom. Even though she worked in the politician career for a couple of years and went to the education career, it didn't really help him in the long run when it came to like everyday life, like, his temper tantrums and, him sneaking out of the house, teaching him how to drive, like, little things like that didn't really ease his pain when all these events led up to now. And so probably when Parker kind of knows his son a little bit more, he might help him get into some type of like high little grant of college, or being able to teach him, some life lessons, like teach him life lessons that he learned in his past life to teach his kids so they won't make the same mistakes that he did when he was younger. Simple things like that. Teach them while they're young, or before they're like adults, basically, in high society. But you know what I mean. Life goes on. Gotta teach them while they're young, or as soon as they're adults, before they head out into the real world and have consequences. So that's the gist. That's the life. But either way, let's go ahead and hop into the real-time tour. So as you can see here, this whole apartment is very, very small, compact, not a lot to do, not a lot of wiggle room to move around, expand, but the whole idea is definitely keeping a single sim in the city or across town near their children so they can live their best life to the fullest extent and see what they can do by themselves. And honestly, Parker doesn't really need much to begin with anyway. Like, he has a very small, low-paying job. He loves rock and roll. He loves working out. He loves his children, but he doesn't really technically have a lot of stuff that he can technically do with them. Like, he has a video game console. He also has like a toy box here. He's eventually going to get a pet at some point in the future, but I just don't know when that's going to be. But he's going to get one at some point. But the kitchen's very small and compact. You have a nice little stove, a little microwave, a little dishwasher, a sink, toilet paper roll, a nice little mid-century modern-esque type of table with chairs. And I think in his bedroom, it's just also very chill and small. His bed, end tables, his dresser. I gave him a computer just because he does have a dating profile, and I do want to give him some type of like leisure activities to go date other people, write a book or two, scam some people. You know, the normal stuff we do in The Sims 3. And then we also have his bathroom, and I was gonna add in a washer and dryer into here, but I thought to myself, there's no way we can fit one in here, let alone have the bare necessities that we need to live and breathe. So I thought, you know what, he can put his stuff in his hamper, eventually go down to the laundromat and clean his clothes there. Now, that's just a concept that he can do at a later point in his life. But this is the entire apartment. I hope you all liked it, because I had a lot of fun doing it, even though it was very short and small. I kind of want to do another one at some point in the future, but make it a little bit bigger, just to see, you know, the Sims 3 apartments again at some point, and, you know, test out the spiral staircases and have a little bit of funsies and chaoticness as we all do in The Sims 3 as always. But either way, I hope you all enjoyed today's video as much as I did. Please let me know down in the comments below as always on what Sims 3 build I should do next and all that jazz, and I will see you all next time. Bye!